everyone, how are you today? I'm Porsche from Workplace Safety and Health Council. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we have three special guests with me at this podcast, beginning with Michelle Martin, Clara Chen, and Shauna. And to begin with, I'd like to invite Michelle to give a self-intro. Michelle.
Well, hello, everybody. You might know me as the person on Money FM or the voice on radio. I've known Porsche because I was chairperson of the Women's Award that MediaCorp put together many years ago, and Porsche was our winner. So that's where we met. And I just bumped into her again at her World's Woman of the Year big celebration. So I'm thrilled to be here. What people may not know is that I have a deep interest in psychotherapy and mental wellness, and my private practice, which is called mindbodyfluent.com, uses therapeutic interventions to support all aspects of mental wellness.
Thank you, Michelle. And next, Clara.
Hi. Yes, I met Porsche at the launch of the PAP Mental Health Work Group just last month. And for myself, I've been a serial entrepreneur for about 2 decades, trying to influence change using media, technology, and investments. And today, my work focuses on public health and sustainability. And through the conversation, I'll give you a bit more insights on what I actually do.
Thank you, Clara. And next, Shauna.
Hi, I'm Shauna from the Poh Maradona program. I'm the HR manager there. I've also been in HR practice for about 13 years, so I'm happy to be here today to share from the employer's perspective.
Thank you, Shauna. And Clara, as you're speaking as a mental health advocate, my first question of the 100 questions for you will be, would you agree that it's important to promote mental health at workplace? And if yes, why?
Great, thanks, Porsche. So I'll start off with introducing a bit about my background as a mental health advocate. I was a caregiver for a parent with schizophrenia since when I was young, and a survivor of suicide loss as well when I was a child. So with that, I grew up with this conviction that I want to effect change, and the most effective way to do that is through 2 things: innovation and investment. When it comes to workplace, I don't like the term mental health. I prefer to group them together because mental health is a part of health, and anything that happens to you mentally, it also impacts you physically as well. So like WHO has also said, there is no health without mental health. So when it comes to promoting mental health at the workplace, it's not only crucial, but it shouldn't be segregated from overall health and wellness focus for employees.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And Shauna, being the representative of the employers, what is your agency currently doing to promote mental health?
I think we do it through a few ways. We're a pretty small organization, so to be honest, we just started a few years ago. So firstly, I think we started having some mental well-being talks within the organization, just to have the topic started, get people more aware. We also commemorate World Mental Health Day each year with through different activities, to encourage self-care, a relaxing time for employees, and we also have our staff intranet, in which we put several resources that's available for staff if they need to refer to, for example, if they want to seek help or things like that. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, everyone, World Mental Health Day falls on 10th of October and is celebrated in Singapore and across the world. So, it's so vibrant, and that's where I met Clara, I remember, right? So the thing is okay, so we talk so much about mental health and workplace. And here's the third one that I'm going to speak to, okay? Yeah, so when you talk about mental health, would you agree that mental health is important to be discussed at workplace?
Absolutely. There are hierarchies at work. People find themselves in roles where they are given power. And something happens when people are given power. You just have to watch the Stanford prison experiment. That's a classic prison experiment that shows when people are in roles of power, they tend to act in ways that may not be in line with what we expect of individuals. So, power is a great responsibility. How you use that in relationships with another is not something that we're taught in school, right? How should you behave in relationship with another? How should you behave with a group, a team, in a way that allows for your goals to be met, but at the same time doesn't diminish what the person feels they have the resources to bring to the table. So burnout, for example, happens when a person keeps putting so much at the workplace, but feels that they have a lack of recognition of that, or that they just don't have the resources to deal with the expectations that are loaded on them. So, I think it's crucial to discuss mental health at the workplace, because I've seen people who avoid coming to work, absenteeism, who are so stressed out that they develop physical illnesses. And we don't talk about it enough because it's almost seen as a weakness to say I have mental issues. So I think what we should be doing is learning to, even with a minor issue like stress, how do we at the workplace approach someone, check in with someone who is stressed? I think we should start with authenticity, maybe going forward and saying, I'm worried because it looks like you're struggling, and I'm here in case you need to talk, and I'm here to listen as well.
Thank you so much. But the thing is, like you are mentioning, check in with each other. We need to have at least like basic mental health knowledge. How could we look out for the warning sign? What are the warning signs?
For stress?
Yep.
Okay, so I think stress, the first thing that you notice is avoidance issues, so people not coming to work, or people avoiding social interactions. But remember, stress is your body's natural reaction to what is perceived as challenge or threat. So a small amount of stress might show up, but you don't need to necessarily react to it. You know, someone who's getting married, you know, will feel a lot of emotion, and you can see them sweating all over the place, which is one sign of stress, but you don't need to intervene there. But at work, if we're talking about an extreme amount of stress, this person is isolating themselves. In terms of their speech, they may seem disorganized or cloudy. They may seem tired all the time. And those are some of the signs for you to be able to extend yourself and check in.
Interesting. I'll come back to you on the possible causes, okay? And then Clara, the thing is, like, as an advocate, what are your comment on, like, you know, the common challenges faced at the workplace?
Well, so like following what Michelle mentioned, you know, with colleagues, you know, same thing, I'll see them being absent, or I think the most common thing is people don't recognize their emotions. They don't recognize that they're stressed themselves. So that awareness is very much missing. And, you know, just to give an example even for myself, right, you know, since young, we go through counseling, so I'm quite familiar with the clinical side of things because of, you know, my childhood. Having said that, you know, just not long ago, one afternoon I was busy at work and my husband just checked in, how are you? And I just said, I feel a bit sad today. And then I realized everything was fine. And he asked me what's wrong. And I was like, actually nothing is wrong. I realized in the evening, I told him I wasn't sad. I was feeling a bit anxious because I have a deadline and, you know. So most people, we don't recognize our emotions and we mistake it for something else. It might come to you later in hindsight, but sometimes we react because of that instant. Yeah, so that's what I noticed at the workplace a lot.
And in your opinion, what do you think? What kind of expectation the employees will have from the employers while they are facing all these challenges in life?
Of course, employees can ask for a side, right? Like, oh, I want to work from home all the time. But we also have to be very realistic. You know, like everybody is going back to, you know, the office now. But of course, employers also need to meet employees halfway. Not just provide them the standard, you know, employee assistance programs that most companies have right now. I can't remember the exact numbers, but the last I checked, maybe only about 3% of employees actually use these employee assistance programs at the workplace. When my husband works for a large investment bank, I asked him, do you know that your company has this? He's like, I don't. So most people don't know. They don't use it. And they don't actually know they need help. So at least from my perspective, what the employer can do is to provide them the resources, the awareness and the education on recognizing when they need help.
I see.
Yeah.
And I heard from Shauna that you all have been organizing all these talks and workshops and commemorating World Mental Health Day. And did your agency actually encounter any challenges of promoting mental health at workplace?
Not in particular. I think I'm fortunate to work amongst colleagues who are generally all very supportive, and as well as a senior management team who also value these initiatives. So I don't think there's a challenge in there per se, but I think it's right as Clara and Michelle has pointed out that people tend to not talk about it. They tend to keep it in. I think it's maybe it's an Asian thing. Even though it's a more common kind of topic now, but even if sometimes the resource can be available there, but they may still choose not to use it, for example, even though they could be struggling. And I think maybe people tend to they just struggle until they reach a point where it's too not say too late, but they don't seek early intervention, or maybe they don't think that they need it. So they think that I'm okay, I'll be okay. So I think that is something.
Good point. And Michelle, what happens if they continue to struggle at their end? What will happen?
Stress leads to certain hormones being released in the body. So there's cortisol, there's adrenaline, and often what that leads to is heart issues, right? Because your heart's pumping, you have high blood pressure. So long-term chronic stress can really wear you out. And more than that, these feelings, these emotions that you're dealing with when you're feeling stress can translate to behavior. So people try to self-soothe with alcohol maybe, or with medication, or with sleep habits that are erratic. And this can lead to other issues, lifestyle-related issues, because they're not having enough sleep, they can't recover, they can't refuel themselves, or they can't make good choices because they're constantly in fight or flight mode. So chronic stress is a problem and needs to be dealt with. Managing stress and not letting stress manage you is crucial to mental wellness or just wellness as a whole.
And what is the consequences if you just go on, ignoring stress, ignoring burnout? What will happen?
Well, I'd say it's always a good idea not to ignore what signals are coming up. And to Clara's point, sometimes you go to schools and you speak to young children and you say, how are you feeling today? And they say, fine. But fine is not a feeling. So it really starts with coming to an awareness of what your feelings are, and then being able to say, okay, I am not able to cope here. There are resources that I can utilize and I can reach out for help. And sometimes it's a mixture of psychotherapy or medication that's going to be able to help if the stress develops to a point where it's become anxiety disorder. Or sometimes it can deepen even further, right, to a form of depression. It's linked to that. There is no one cause for any one of these things. But the bottom line is you don't want to let stress control you.